Clarice, thank you for your answer. Environmental context refers to the physical space and time, the surroundings, environment, background that determines the meaning of something. Maths is also important in assessing renewables based on observations from the environment. For example, weather data helps to predict the efficiency of solar cells. Thank you very much, Group 4. Great answer. Thank you for the reference. Wonderful. Thank you, Clarice. Okay, so environmental context, we can say that the background, the environment determines the meaning of something. And in this case, for Group 4, they've used weather from our environment to help explain to help us to learn patterns, functions, and algebra, because with weather we can see patterns. Group 2, without mathematics, there would be no applied or theoretical science, there would be no atmospheric sciences, nor would there be architecture, physics, chemistry, biology, or anything else. That's because it is the examination and application of numbers, including volumes, structures, and patterns, and order. It uses concepts such as abstraction and logic, numbering and calculations, measurement of volume and distance. Thank you very much, Group 2. Well done, good answer. So atmosphere, architecture, physics, chemistry, biology, those are all the contexts in the environment. And they used volumes, structures, and patterns and order in math. Good answer. Thank you very much. Okay, so we are waiting for Group 3 and Group 1 for your environmental contexts. Group 1 and Group 3. If you can just type it up. I think I'm going to go on just to clear everything about environmental context. We can use anything in nature, in our environment, immediate environment, worldwide, nationwide. It could include biology, it can include nature, plants, animals, people, weather, atmosphere. We can go on and on. Biomes, you can even relate it to our natural sciences and everything that we get as context or topics in the natural sciences subject. So that would be your integration to the different subjects then. So any human environment, so here we can think of waste, recycling, any natural environment, like I said, weather, biology, plants, animals, and then any physical environment around you nationwide. So you can start with your immediate environment and then you can go wider. Say, for instance, your immediate environment in your house, and then you can go outside in your garden, and then in your neighborhood, your community, your city, your country, and then worldwide, and everything that is surrounded or involved in that environment or that context. If we think about weather, summer, winter, and what happens to the nature, those are all environmental contexts. The physical space and time, being aware of your surroundings. Good, thank you, group 3. Thank you very much. Group 1, we are just waiting for your answer. In the meantime, I want the rest of you to please, okay, so it's group 2, we're waiting for your answer. In the meantime, you can type up your economic environment, economic context. Please group all the Great, thank you. All right, so let's just quickly look at the economic context. Group 3 said it can be shaped solely by the city and influences that businesses make through investments or by creating job opportunities. It therefore influences a city's economic structure and its attractiveness as a location. Great answer, thank you very much, Group 3. So we think here about businesses, investments, job creation, the economic structure of a city. So that is what they thought about. Well done. Group 4, economical context is shaped by people who live in a specific area or city. We as people influence the need for job opportunity and the investment in other projects to help build a community. This forms and builds the constant change and growth in the economic structure and its needs for attractiveness to individuals. If you think about how this affects the school sector, some businesses donate resources to school, thus creating a good image for the business. Well done, Group 4. Thank you very much. So it's also job opportunities, investments, building the community, constant change in the growth of the economic structure, and then also if businesses donate resources, and then we can also relate that to the tax benefits. So you can see that economic context is also everywhere. Group 1, mathematical economics uses mathematical methods like algebra and calculus to represent theories and analyze problems in economics. It all allows for economists to form meaningful propositions about subjects that would be hard to express informally. Economists are able to develop theories by using algebra that can be used by different scenarios regardless of specific quantities. Thank you, Group 1. So, sorry, you are going into the analytics of the economy. Theories where algebra was used and specific quantities. Good, thank you. That's a rather grown-up answer. So if you give this to your grade 5s, it will be rather hard to understand, but this will be a wonderful context to use in higher grades, especially if you use it for grades 10 to 12 to help them use the algebra in different scenarios regarding quantities and analytics. Right, we're waiting for Group 2, but in the meantime, let's go on. I don't know what happened to Group 2, but anyway, they are rather silent today. So you can see that you can really relate everything to math if we think about our answers of the economic context, you will see that when you do savings, comparing prices, you can use your different advertisements that you get in your newspapers to help the learners work out what price would be the best. For instance, if you use your environmental context, you can use the bees and how they structure their hives and relate that to patterns that they use to structure the hive and the different shapes. So that is an environmental context, the life of a bee that you can use in your classroom. If you look at social and cultural contexts, you can use job opportunities within your environment, your immediate social environment. You can think of rituals within the different cultures, and then maybe have them clap out a rhythm that they use in songs in their culture on the drums. So you can really relate it to their real life. Okay, so what is important for us is to remember to keep it as real life as possible. So if you think of an activity, try and think of where I can relate that to the world of a grade 5 learner, or the world of a grade 4 learner, or the world of a grade 6 learner. That's why you need to understand their world, what they are interested in, and try and focus on giving them examples and contexts that is meaningful to them. If you are going to give them a very difficult economic problem and investigation where people invest money, they won't understand it that well because it's not in their immediate world. So rather stick to things that they are familiar with, so that they can see how the math is real to them. Okay, group 1, I just want to read the answer as well. Mathematical economics uses mathematical methods like algebra. Oh no, I've already read the answer, thank you. All right, some of us are experiencing connection issues. That's always a problem. Not nice at all. That's also a social issue, to not be able to connect to your class. All right, so now I'm going to help you with your compulsory ICE task 2, and that is why we have spent so much time on trying to identify the different contexts in which you are going to explain a mathematical problem. Because for your compulsory ICE task 2, which is set in your POE document, you need to investigate a possible social or cultural problem that can be used to establish a theme for teaching a topic from patterns, functions, and algebra in your classroom. Then you have to relate your topic to a theme from either the natural science, social science, or life orientation curriculum for grade 5. So it sounds like a big thing, but I'm going to break it down for you and help you to understand what to do. So after you have identified your theme, you're going to create a poster to use in the grade 5 classroom to teach a topic that you have chosen in patterns, functions, and algebra. And then you are also going to name the CAPS content that you plan to cover with this theme and explain how you intend to use the poster and theme to facilitate the teaching and learning experience. So this sounds very difficult, but if we break it down, you will see that it's not that difficult. So let's start with the first few words in this ICE task. Just a reminder, this will also be very important for your POE because you're going to use this poster that you have created in your POE as well. Okay, so let's start with our possible social or cultural problem that can be used to establish a theme for teaching a topic in patterns, functions, and algebra. So let's look at a few contexts. So your social and cultural context is the immediate physical and social setting in which people live or in which something happens or develops. It includes the culture that the individual was educated or lives in and the people and institutions with whom they interact. Okay, so let's look at a few cultural issues. You can have traditions. You can have an issue like race or religion. Then you can also have something like fashion or cultural heritage or different symbols that we use in our religion. You can have holidays that's important to the different cultures or the different religions. So here you can get a few ideas that could maybe spark an idea with you to use within a lesson. So this would be cultural issues. Let's look at a few social issues. We can have issues like addiction, racism, suicide, rights, violence, stereotypes, discrimination, also religion, yeah, intolerance, xenophobia. So here are a few issues that can help you to think of a theme for your poster. Healthcare. Okay, so keep this in mind because that is the first step, is to identify a possible social or cultural problem. Okay, so those word clouds would help you to identify a problem that can be used to establish a theme for your poster. To teach a topic from patterns, functions, and algebra in your classroom. So remember, if we look at the topics of patterns, functions, and algebra in our intermediate phase, we've got the following topics. We've got 3 topics in patterns, functions, and algebra. We've got numeric patterns, and we've got geometric patterns, and we've got number sentences. So you're going to decide on one of these topics to teach by using a poster. All right, so say for instance, you're going to decide on geometric patterns. Then there are a few focus areas. The first one is investigate and extend patterns. The second one is input and output values. And the third focus is equivalent forms. So you can choose anything in here to teach. So say for instance, you want to do geometric patterns, investigate and extend patterns. This is a topic in your math curriculum, and the focus here will be to investigate and extend patterns. All right, so let's look at the example that is given to you in your POE. They say they've chosen grade 5, that is your grade that you have to use. In the patterns, functions, and algebra content area, they have chosen the topic geometric patterns, investigate and extend patterns. Okay, so if you think of a pattern in geometry, think of a pattern that can repeat, or a pattern that can grow, or a pattern that will decrease, or a pattern that will increase. If you look at this poster here, or this example, this little bacteria is an example of a growing pattern. So it started as a little one and it grew bigger and bigger. So the context here is food safety. That is the social and cultural context that they have chosen. So health and safety, especially food safety, that is a social and cultural context. So how you would use this context is to introduce geometric patterns to get learners to understand how the patterns grow, and as a springboard to teach them how to calculate how many bacteria will be on the food at 10 hours, 20 hours, and so on. So the purpose of this poster is to make them aware that food temperature counts, that you need to be aware that you have to heat your food very well. If you don't heat it enough, like for instance, if you want to eat a pork chop and you don't heat the pork chop enough, there would be bacteria left in the pork meat, and that would increase by time. So this is what happened here. At the start, there was one bacteria left there, and in 1 hour it grew. 2 hours, even more. 3 hours, even more. 4 hours, 5 hours, and then to extend the pattern, the learners are asked to calculate how many bacteria will be on the food in 10 hours and 20 hours. So if you look at the PDF that I would put up on Learning Unit 3, you would be able to see the numbers here very well. Now it is not that visible, but the learners will be able to calculate what will be the effect of the 10 hours and 20 hours. So this looks like a very simple illustration, but there's a lot of thought into this poster. Okay. So this is an example of what you can use. So your context that you are concentrating on is only the social and cultural context. Yes. All right. So you choose an issue. You can choose any issue. Taxes, racism, unemployment, healthcare, homelessness, any social or cultural issue that you can think of to base your theme of your poster on. But you also need to focus on the integration with some of the other subjects in grade 5. And this might be a bit difficult to understand what the grade 5 learners do in the other subjects. So you need to consult the other curriculum, other CAPS documents of natural science, social science, or life orientation. So you need to look at what they do, what are the topics that they do in grade 5 in the different subjects. So to make it easier for you, I have already copied the different topics from the different subjects for you, and that I would also give to you on the PDF that I would load on Learning Unit 3. So if we look at the Natural Sciences curriculum for grade 5, then this is what they do in grade 5. They do plants and animals on Earth. They do animal skeletons, food chains, life cycles. In the technology strand, they do skeletons as structures. Then they also do metals and non-metals and the use of metals. They do processing materials and processed materials. Stored energy in fuels, energy and electricity, energy and movement, systems for moving things, planet Earth, the surface of the Earth, sedimentary rocks, and fossils. Those are the topics for grade 5 natural sciences. So if you have a cultural or social issue in mind, think, can you relate it to one of the topics in this subject maybe? Or can you maybe relate it to the life skills curriculum? Personal and social well-being, physical education or creative arts. Those are the 3 study areas in life skills, and within the life skills curriculum, they do the different topics. So in the study area, personal and social well-being, grade 5s do development of the self, and you can read here what the different focuses are. In health and environmental responsibility, they've got the following topics. And in social responsibility, there are a few topics that you can think about. Maybe you can relate your social or cultural issue to one of these topics that they do in grade 5 in the life skills curriculum for personal and social well-being. In the study area physical education, still in the life skills curriculum, they've got a few topics here and focus areas here in grade 5. And for creative arts, we've got a few topics and focus areas in grade 5. So maybe you can have an artwork that you can use to focus on a cultural issue or a health issue. You never know, you might come across an artwork that you can use on your poster. You have to think outside the box, think of creative ideas that you can use. If we look at the social sciences curriculum, this is what they do in history. In grade 5, they do hunter-gatherers and herders in Southern Africa, and then the first farmers in Southern Africa, ancient society Egypt. So maybe you could find something nice there that you can relate to culture. And then a heritage trail through the provinces of South Africa. This is also a nice topic that you can relate to a cultural issue. Then in geography, they do map skills, physical features of South Africa, weather, climate and vegetation of South Africa, minerals and mining in South Africa. So you see you've got a lot of topics that you can choose from in your different subjects. Right, so let's unpack the activity again. These are your instructions. Investigate a possible social or cultural problem that you can use as a theme for your poster to teach a topic from patterns, functions, and algebra in your classroom. Related to a topic or a theme of natural sciences, social sciences, or life orientation for grade 5. So that is what I've just explained. Social or cultural problem, that can be your theme for your poster. You have to teach a topic from patterns, functions, and algebra, either number patterns or geometric patterns or number sentences. Then you also have to relate the theme and the topic to one of the subjects in grade 5, natural sciences, social sciences, and life orientation. So your activity will then consist of 2 components. A poster. This is the poster where you have to teach that particular idea. So your poster can be, you can use any any app if you want, or you can do it on a postcard, cardboard, and take a picture. It doesn't matter. If you don't want to use an app or design it on your computer, you can use your normal cardboard. You can make a big poster of an A3 that you can one day use in your class while you are putting in the effort. And then you can take a very good photograph of that and upload it into your Word document or a PowerPoint presentation or whatever you want to do, and then export it to a PDF. Okay, so it's up to you. If you don't want to use an app, you may use a physical example and take a very good quality picture of that, because I have to be able to see what you are trying to teach on that poster. So if it's not clear to you and you can't make out what's going on, I am going to struggle. Okay, so please just make sure that your photo is of good quality. So that is the poster. Then you also need a Word document, no more than 1 page, even less, where you just have to explain the following. The cup's content that you plan to cover with this theme. So you need to tell me which topic in math you are going to cover, what you want them to do, as well as what other subject you used, which topic in the other subject from grade 5 you decided to base your theme of your poster on. And then you need to explain in that Word document how you intend to use the poster and theme to facilitate the teaching and learning experience. How is this poster going to help you and guide you in your lesson? So please, people, it's not a lesson plan. It's only a Word document where you type up your answer. Okay, so it's not a lesson plan. You don't have to type out a whole lesson plan. So this is just to get you started. You decide on your context. Our context in the example that I've just shown you about the bacteria was health as a social problem that relates to life orientation in grade 5 under the topic health and environmental responsibility for grade 5, local environmental health problems. So if you look at your life orientation or your life skills curriculum, in grade 5, there's a topic health and environmental responsibility. And in the grade 5 column, the topic is local environmental health problems. So that is the theme of and the context of the poster. The topic in the math content, patterns, functions, and algebra, was geometric patterns, investigate, and extend geometric patterns. The poster related to the topic, your heading will be food temperature. That is the example from your POE ICE task. The heading was food temperature counts, and then it had a subheading, what happens if we don't heat food enough? So this whole example here is based on, remember, this poster. And this is the example that they have given you in your POE document and in your module guide on page, I can't remember that well now, I think 39 and 40. And then discuss in a Word document the CAP's content and use. So how are you going to do that? Grade 5 patterns, functions and algebra topic was geometric patterns, investigate and extend patterns, your social or cultural context, what it is, where you have integrated it is the subject life orientation, and then in grade 5, what is this subject area and the topic. And then you discuss how you would use it. You can elaborate a bit more than this, but this is just the example from the POE. I will use it to introduce geometric patterns, to get learners to understand how the patterns grow, and as a springboard to teach them how to calculate the growing number of bacteria on food as time goes on, and to calculate how many bacteria will be on the food in 10 hours, 20 hours, etc. And that is how to extend the pattern. So the investigation of the pattern first, and then to extend the pattern. So your guidelines for your poster, it can be an A4 because it's difficult for us to upload something that's bigger than that. You can later on convert it to an A3 if you want to use this poster in your class one day. Please have a title for your poster, even subtitles. It should be clear. It should be able to stand alone. If you look at the example given in the module guide, if you look at that geometric pattern, you are able to understand what's going on there. Not too much text, people. You can't have small written text all over the poster. That's not the aim of a poster. Your text should not be too heavy. You can have text, but not too heavy. It should be visually appealing, nice color, good font. It should be legible, relevant, appropriate, and accurate content. And please edit your grammar. No spelling mistakes, please. Make sure. Do you have any questions for me at this stage? The due date of this ICE task is, let me just check. Due date is 23 April. Just a note on this, because I've already done this with group 2 of TIMA6211, they've got a different due date than you. So your due date is 23 April. So please, people, remember that you are in different groups and your timetables are different. So I need to keep that into consideration when I give deadlines. So yours is due on the 23rd of April. But if you're already on the 21st, it doesn't matter. But their deadline is 21 April.